Okay, but can I tell you about a video that I want to do for my channel?
Wait, well, yeah, what do you want
Can
to,
I?
what are you
Can
trying
I?
to tell
Can I?
me?
Okay, so I was hanging out with my friend Maddie today, and we were just kind of talking, and I pointed to the fireplace, and I was like, Maddie, 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 and she goes, what? And I'm like, aesthetic, and she's like, what the heck? Like, why are you saying this? And I was like, you know what? For a video, I want to just go around to a bunch of different places, point at it, and be like, aesthetic, and then just like move on.
That's a video idea?
Yep,
Well, it's an idea.
I like
It
it.
does exist.
Yes, it does, and nobody can take it. And if anybody takes it, I will know it's you. I
Uh-huh.
will find you. I will come and I will hunt you down.
We're not
Because
actually in the podcast right now, you know? Ugh.
bruh, bruh.
We haven't started.
Of course, this is in the podcast.
No, it isn't. We haven't done anything to start the podcast yet.
We always start our podcast like this with horrible introductions, like, "Hey, welcome to Podcast Pending. I'm Randina, and this is my brother."
Did you just?
I did.
Hello, my name is
Eric.
Eric Freedy Free. I don't know if I should just commit to one or the other. I can't ever commit to it.
I mean, just use your full name because that's what I'm calling you. Or, well, your first name, whatever.
I'm really confused because I have no idea where the heck I'm going to start with whatever that just was.
You're gonna start exactly where I tell you to.
You didn't
because
tell me to. You can't tell me to. What are you gonna like look at this and be like, oh yeah, that's the way to do this?
I will give you my recording and I'll be like, right at mile marker number whatever.
You haven't
Mile marker.
markered anything.
But yeah, we do a podcast, and this is a podcast where we talk about stuff. We try to debate about things, and we debate horribly, but you know what? You're here for the conversation. And if you're not here for the conversation, you're gonna wanna be.
I'm not. I'm here for cookies. I still haven't found them. Where?
Dude, you know they're gluten-free.
That's the problem.
Dude, I got so sad today because there's this little boutique, cupcake.
Nice.
So it's a cupcake boutique. Sorry, my brain was like, how do words? But there's this cupcake boutique in Sioux Falls, and they make really good gluten-free cupcakes, and I was super pumped, and today I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to treat myself, I'm going to go to this boutique, and I'm going to go and get a gluten-free cupcake, and it's going to be great. Except today is Sunday, and they are closed on Sundays.
No post or cupcakes on Sundays. It's the law. No.
I'm just really sad about this.
See, I was about to complain about how hot it was.
You ho! It's so cold here!
Yeah, sorry
it's
about
freezing
that, fam.
here!
Sorry. I'm okay with not having have done a podcast up in the wherever I was.
We are in a state.
That's a
It
place.
is a South Dakota state.
They have the South Dakota designation.
Okay, yeah.
It's all
Well,
just
I'm sad about
frozen
my
wasteland
cupcake.
tundra up there. That's what my Instagram posts are going to be the next few days. It's just going to be like, this is what it was like. You don't want to be here. You don't understand what trials
and
I
then cute
went
little
through.
pictures of me.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
there
I'm
was that
cute.
one.
I was the warmth for your followers in that cold, cold night.
I wonder if I should have hashtagged it because I only got like 3 likes on the photo. I was like, oh man.
Man,
Yeah.
I can tell where all your followers are at. All they care about are aesthetic pictures of sunsets.
Hey man,
Palm trees.
don't be hating on the aesthetic palm tree sunset things. They always get likes. They're like, oh my god.
You know what
Wow.
you just said? You know what you just said?
What did I say?
Aesthetic.
Oh, you said it first, so I had to.
Of course, because aesthetics are great and wonderful, and I love them. My room is so aesthetic right now, and I love it.
Really? Can you show us right now? Oh. Oh.
You're horrible. Let me
Podcast
paint a
problems.
picture for you. I will paint a lovely picture for you. So in my room, I have a bunch of little fairy lights all around my room. They help illuminate the space because my lighting is shit.
Nope.
And I have this very retro wallpaper. It's flowers and it's pink, and it's alarming because I really hate the color pink. But anyway, it's very aesthetic, and I have a couple of posters up, and I have an entire bookshelf with over 200 books in it because I love reading a lot. Like, a lot. Like, if this were an addiction and it were bad, I would be taken to therapy because I read books so much. But yeah, my room was real pretty.
Well.
Eric's room is orange, so.
And purple. Barely.
Wait, it's purple?
No. The room itself is painted orange. It's almost a peach color in the sun. But there are these big purple sound dampening things, tiles that don't actually dampen sound very well. But they exist, and they are the purple colors. By the way,
you have a rough life.
This is weird, but did you switch your headphones from your microphone to your phone?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just double checking.
Obviously.
Because
Eric, do you really think I'm that big of an idiot?
that happened last episode. I was like, I can hear myself through Randy's phone. Not that it was a big deal or anyone would even notice in the podcast itself, but when you edit this stuff, you notice those things. And then there are prizes for the people who happen to be like, is that supposed to be in? Wait a minute. What's going on here? No.
I hope you are the one supplying these prizes, because this girl is broke. I'm so broke right now.
You kidding? Do you have any idea what it's like out here? Do you understand what it's like to live out here? I mean,
it's warm, for starters.
Yeah, well,
so there's that.
At least you can't freeze when you're homeless out here. Oh, yeah. That's a whole nother sad story. No, it's actually kind of sad. I just saw a tweet from Hank Green, and he mentioned something about how, everyone I see on the internet is pretty liberal, but Hank posted a thing on Twitter that was like, hey, just so we don't stay in our liberal echo voice box chamber thing, here's an article that talks about how the liberals have actually kind of hurt California and are part of the reason why it has such a issue with unemployment and homelessness out here. And the article itself was kind of fascinating. So it was nice that, while I will say that I am primarily liberal, I strongly believe that there are conservative ideals that are good to hold on to, and having a conservative mindset is good, but there are bad on either side. It's just, in this particular day and place, bad Republicans are far more prominent and far more seen than bad liberals, it seems. But, or conservatives, I should say, not Republicans.
Everybody has their kind of, like, flawed areas, I guess. I myself like to have conservative friends, within reason, because I find that having a different perspective often strengthens my arguments on things and, like, helps me figure out other states of mind, I guess, because, like, not everybody thinks the same way, has the same thought processes, and, like, cares about the same things. So it's good to branch out and not close yourself off to people who are different from you just because of their political leanings. Like, that's kind of stupid, and, like, I'm not about that.
Yeah. But it was one of those just interesting articles that talked about people essentially profiting from other less fortunate folk being stuck in the welfare trap where they don't have resources in order to get out of welfare and to get jobs and to get resources, because it's one of those, like, the more people that we have taking welfare services, the more people we can employ to manage those welfare services. And it's the most awkward, backwards circle thing where I'm like, well, we can't get rid of our welfare programs because think of all the people that will lose their jobs because the welfare programs are gone. And I'm like, did you just listen to what you said there? The people who are in charge of the welfare programs will lose their jobs? And it's one of those, like, if we don't have to worry about there being welfare programs, we've already saved more people from not having jobs. Because it's not like, it's not one-to-one. It's like one welfare worker for, let's just say it's a classroom, 30 other people who are taking welfare. if those 30 people no longer have to take welfare and that one person who's in charge of, some section of the welfare program is no longer employed because of it, because they have to make cuts, doesn't that mean that's a good thing? Don't we want them to lose their jobs? I'm sure they don't exactly like being in charge of a welfare program. They'd rather be in charge of a, hey, you're doing great, let's have you do better program or something like that. Or universal income program?
Healthcare.
Universal income is what I was going with that. I wonder about that. I want to put up a poll or do something like that. What's going to come to America first? Universal healthcare or universal income? Because I feel like it has to be universal healthcare, because it has to be universal healthcare first because the rest of the world has done that first. But it's also being trialed in Canada with universal income program. And if that's really successful, it's already taken this long for us to have any, resemblance of a universal healthcare thing. It could be like, who knows what could come first at this point. But
I mean, as long as we're strictly capital, or, oh my god, what's it called? As long as we're a strictly capitalist society, there we go. I don't think we're going to be having a universal income anytime soon, but healthcare, healthy sleep. Oh, sorry.
What?
I keep thinking of that stupid vine where it's like, Rebecca, we need a healthy snack. And then she's like, I want Chipotle. I said healthy, Rebecca. And I'm like, my brain is a weird place. I
don't understand.
It's a vine, Eric.
I am not of the understanding of these things. Oh.
You don't know your vines.
The one thing I was going to say, this was what would make it maybe possible universal income would come before healthcare. The reason we would pass universal income in some form would be that it would make it so we could remove welfare or remove a food stamp program or remove something that helps people who are unemployed or homeless. That removing that program and replacing it with universal income would be like, we're not actually losing money with this. We're just switching how we distribute the money and making it accessible for everyone rather than these few people that are either in need of it or are taking advantage of it or are in a job that doesn't make enough money for them on purpose to get out of the program. Like, I need to get less money than this so I can stay in this apartment. Say for there's what is they called? You can stay in apartments that you have to have a minimum income, or wait, no, maximum income. You can't live there if you have more than the maximum income, or you get into another tax bracket where if you have less than this amount of income, you're in this bracket. But if you have like $500 more, you suddenly have to pay, another whole chunk of change that you would otherwise not have to. Unless you get a whole lot more income, or if we have taxes that, are way more gradual than steps.
Yeah.
But I still love the whole thing where it's just, let's make the tax plan less complicated so we don't have to worry about it. And I'm like, I like it complicated because that means I get more refunds and I can check more boxes. And also, it's complicated because businesses have been dickholes. That's not something I can bleep out.
Dickholes.
And because of that, we've had to make it complicated to keep them from being dickholes. So it's not complicated for the middle class, low class, even high class normal citizens. It's complicated for businesses. Saying that taxes are complicated for the majority of Americans is ridiculous, because everyone does it. Everyone's done it for years, and yeah, it takes a little bit of work, but it's I don't know. I haven't done taxes enough to be like, oh yeah, it's a piece of cake. I mean, how you guys have any problems with that? Oh my god. Oh gosh, am I clipping? I can't tell actually. But no, it's to the point where it's just like, this is kind of easy. You just gotta not be lazy about it.
Start early I would find the most important thing to do is, like, as long as you have, like, pretty much everything going, you spend a weekend or 2 weekends on it, like, do it ahead of time, that kind of stuff.
I mean, I already organize all of my receipts and all my stuff like that, and it's all there. It's already laying down, ready to go for whenever, taxes come up. And I'm like, why would I not want to do this? It means, like, I could get this big refund, which is just like, when money's involved, doesn't that make people want to do it? Like, people don't seem to do anything out of the goodness of their heart anymore, so,
well,
wouldn't the money do it for it?
A lot of people don't get refunds. They end up having to pay the IRS. Well, depending on how they've done their taxes through their work paycheck stuff.
But anyway, doesn't that mean that they've filled out their W-4 wrong, though? I don't know. Maybe I need to look into it more. But that's just me. I feel like, well, wait, wouldn't I always try to pay more out of my paycheck so I can get something as a big refund? Because, I don't know. Details. That's just, I don't know what's going on. Oh, shoot, I definitely am clipping, I think. That's too bad. I'll have to change that.
Dear listeners, it is time for the most important section of the podcast. The section of the podcast where we talk about ASMR.
Wait.
And whether or not we like it or dislike it.
We're starting with ASMR?
Eric, thoughts about ASMR? Do you like ASMR? Do you not like ASMR? I'm like trying to do weird stuff with my mic. Is it working? I can't tell. So, me personally.
I'm sorry. I was messing.
Are you still trying to figure out your mic?
Oh, I was messing with my water bottle. I guess you couldn't have actually heard it you couldn't actually hear it with with your phone. So, that'll be fun when the podcast happens. I don't know how that's going to sound.
Great.
Yeah.
So, Eric, what are your initial thoughts about ASMR?
Oh my God. I certainly don't have a thing for it. I don't understand it necessarily. I think it's just kind of a thing, but I don't find there was one ASMR. I think if I were going to be anything, I'd be a visual ASMR person where the sound is there, but it's not what it's there. That's not why I would listen to it. There was an ASMR thing where it was somebody working with a little Chinese, what was it? Bonsai garden, I think? Or it had like a sand garden where you would adjust rocks and sand and you'd
Wait,
comb
is this the one that I showed you?
Comb the sand? Maybe, I don't remember.
Is this the one that I put in the Discord?
Might have been. I don't remember for sure.
I think this is the one that I put in the Discord because it's one of my favorite ASMRs.
But it was definitely one of those, this isn't so much something to listen to as just something to watch. But I'm also like, it wasn't really doing it for me to the point where I'm like, this is the most relaxing thing I can do. To me, it was kind of like, this is cool and all, but I feel like I should be doing something else right now. Like, there was another, I think you posted this one in Discord with some girl who has a YouTube channel entirely with her doing something ASMR-like. Was she Japanese? I don't remember if she was.
I don't think so.
I don't even know if she uses her voice at all. But it was, that was another one that you showed me, and I was like, this is a thing, I guess. But, yeah, it's not certainly anything that I'm terribly interessante about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for me, I found ASMR when they, like, started getting really popular. Like, a lot of people were posting ASMR videos. And they're just, like, really, like, okay, so I kind of have insomnia sometimes, which is, like, awful. And if I ever can't sleep, I'll just, like, throw on a relaxing ASMR video and be like, nice. I love this. Especially the sand one, honestly, is, like, so good. Because, like, she scrapes the sand and you're like, nice. And then she scrapes the sand again and you're like, nice. And she continues to scrape and mold the sand and it's nice. I don't know. It's hard to describe. Because, like, the premise of ASMR is, like, trying to get you to get, like, these head tingles. So, like, if you're listening with headphones, you should be able to, like, feel, like, a tingling sensation on your, like, head. And only some people can get that. Like, I personally can't get that. But it's still, like, really nice to just kind of sit with a video and, like, meditate with it and just kind of, like, nice with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. It's just not something I've explored or delved into or gotten anything from with the little bit that I've experienced anyways. Mayhaps.
Do you know what was really cool, though?
Nope.
There is ASMR sketches.
What do you mean sketches?
Okay, so, like, there's some ASMR videos that look vaguely pornographic, and, like, I'm pretty sure they're kind of pornographic, but they're not, like, porn. I don't know how to, like, phrase this, but, like, there's this one that I remember, like, accidentally clicking on, and then I stayed until I was like, this is fucking weird.
Accidentally in quotations.
No, it was like I clicked on it because I thought it was a different video because it was very late at night, and it was like ASMR dentist chair video.
What?
So, like, this girl with the camera was like, oh, we're just gonna do a teeth cleaning, and she, like, brought a toothbrush up to the microphone, and, like, it was in, like, a doctor's office, so it looked like it could have plausibly been at the dentist, and she, like, brushed the microphone with this toothbrush, and I'm like, I am so uncomfortable right now, and so I, like, immediately clicked off, and I was like, no. But, so there's, like, that kind of ASMR, which is not the ASMR I was talking about. The sketch one is I came across this YouTuber, and I have since forgotten his name, because I think there was a video that was embedded on a Tumblr page that I had been on. And what they did is they had this directional microphone in a room, and then they did, like, a podcast-like scene with it. So, you know, when you put on the headphones, are that person in that scene. And it was, like, they did a police interrogation, so, like, you're this person
I saw
who's, like,
something about
sitting.
this. It might have been
It's
something
so
you
cool.
posted or something.
I don't remember if I did, but, like, this was honestly one of my favorite things that I did, because it was, like, you were sitting in this interrogation room, and you're having this police officer who's, like, right next to you, and he's like, we're gonna find out, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, you have your person who you are working with who's right next to you. And then the police officer's like, you said that you have amnesia, and you don't remember anything, but we're gonna get you to talk. And they, like, pulled the partner aside and, like, start drilling into him, and you can hear it, but it's, like, all directional. And so, like, it happens around you, and you can hear their footsteps and, like, where they are. And, like, the person who posted it was like, this is best experienced with your eyes shut and your imagination on. And I was like, oh, so good. And, like, yeah, that was a really good one. That was one of my favorites.
Here's my question. Wouldn't that be more of a VR experience? Where, like, you would have that, where it could be just a blank screen. It's just like you must listen to this with a blindfold on or something like that. So you, or a sleep mask so you don't see anything, but you just listen to it happen around you. But I'm like, I'm seeing this in my head
VR.
as being a VR experience where they have the VR camera that is the character that they are interacting with, as, you know, the character being interrogated, but he has amnesia, but his partner is there with him who does remember everything, and he's trying to work things out with it, and you see this happen around you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Except the only issue is, oh no, that doesn't make sense. The only issue with VR, something like that, is the problems that are innately a part of VR at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we get, like, a holodeck, it would be better, but, like, for what that was, for me, that was some pretty cool shit, like...
That is pretty cool,
nice.
Though. No, it's, you had me thinking about, the Angry Joe Show just put out his top 10 best video games of 2017.
Oh, yeah, I was listening to that while you, like, were watching that.
And one of the ones that he posted about was, I think it was Star Trek On Deck or something like that. Star Trek something or other. But it was a VR experience on the deck of the Enterprise or some starship in Star Trek. And I was just...
Dude.
It's one of those, like, this... If you have a group of like-minded friends, this is probably pretty much what he said too. If you have a group of like-minded friends who just want to have a good time and also all enjoy Star Trek, what a cool freaking thing to do.
Well,
But
that kind of like opens the door for doing like VR with Dungeons and Dragons.
oh my gosh. Poor
Right?
Dungeon Master though. Wouldn't they have to just go into it and have to like design whole things that you would see in VR?
I mean, like, if you had, like, a Dungeons and oh my god, words. If you had a Dungeons and Dragons maker set, and you, like, have a series of maps, and, like, adjustments to maps, and, like, different areas, and then you just allow the Dungeon Master to use these different tools to, like, make a dungeon map, so that whenever everybody else puts on their VR goggles, like, the Dungeon Master can, like, see where everybody's moving on their computer, but, like, because the maps are like pre-made or like they are designed so that you can change them so how you want them to look is how they do look.
Yeah. You know, I did
That would
just
be
think,
so cool.
have you been do you know about I don't know if they're VR chat rooms or what, but they're virtual reality. Yeah, they're essentially virtual reality chat rooms where you go into this place and it's a physical 3D space. You can travel around and there are other VR users that are also there that you can walk up to. And if you walk up to them, their voice will be louder, so it seems like you're getting closer to them and you can hear what they're saying. And
That is
it's
amazing.
It's one of those things where I'm like, that combined with a Dungeons and Dragons game, just combined, you create your own character. They could probably be like a whole bunch of pre-designed stuff that you just mix and match the way you like, and then you go into the game, and that would be whoa.
Here's the thing though, Eric. Have you ever read Ready Player One?
No, I haven't.
But you're planning on watching the movie, right?
Probably, but I still haven't seen the latest Star Wars movie, so yeah, who knows when that will happen.
Well, anyway, when you do inevitably see it, because I will make you watch it if you don't watch it, they basically have a setup like that, and it's like in the game thing, like in the Oasis console, they have it, and it's a thing that they do. They have like chat rooms like that, and as soon as you started saying that, I'm like, the future is now. But
Nah,
yeah.
it's cool.
I think it's interesting that like ASMR can kind of lead into these like junctioning areas. Like, you don't think of ASMR as something that's like needed to be taken seriously or whatever. Like, it seems like just this kind of thing that like house moms do when they have too much time on their hands, and erotic novels are just not doing it for them anymore. Like,
That is
but no,
something.
But like ASMR is just pretty rad, and like if you're an insomniac like me, sometimes it's nice to just plug in a thing and listen to someone comb sand. Yeah.
Yeah. That is
Sand
a
combing.
thing. Although I do kind of like how ASMR can kind of go into virtual reality and spaces like that where it's how do you explain?
Well, like one thing that I would like to see with like VR and stuff like that is like you can buy a discounted ticket to a Broadway show and you get to be in the VR seat.
Oh, yes. You can have VR seats that are like set up on the like past the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
So you could sit on like the brim of the balcony. So no one could see the cameras unless they like looked behind them. But they would just be up on the balcony, the first balcony level, and you could just watch out. That'd be cool.
I think
That
that'd be
actually
amazing.
Should be a thing.
Well, and like,
But
I don't think
know.
people think of VR as anything more than a gaming toy.
That's
When,
a
like,
streaming
accessibility-
service that should exist, actually. How does that not exist
Well, like,
yet? That has to exist.
Because I came up with it just now, and I'm gonna patent it, and it's gonna be great.
But no, it's literally like, this is something Broadway should probably have. Actually, no, maybe not. I think the issue is that people on Broadway will think, if we do this, that's going to be the substitute, and that people will be fine with that rather than actually going to see the show. Which, I mean, that's not hard to work with. I mean, you set it up so you can't like zoom in on what's happening on the stage, or if you do zoom in, the quality will drop just immensely. So
Or
it will
like
look
have it
good, but
so,
it won't look as good as it could if you were actually there, or you could
or like
actually hear it as,
you
you
could
could be
like
being there.
you could record the show and then when it goes off of Broadway, put it on the streaming service for VR. Not a big deal.
But it's not live
Like if you're not
anymore.
going to get any ticket sales for it anymore, you might as well allow like a streaming service like a VR Broadway or whatever, like take the opportunity to let other people see the show. Like I would give so much for everybody, like all of my friends to be able to see Anastasia the way that I saw it on Broadway. Like I live for that musical and I am so glad I got the opportunity to see it. But like I'm never going to be able to have a talk with my friends about it because it's on in New York and they're not going to record it as far as I know. I don't know. It's frustrating and I think like, if a show goes off Broadway, why don't they just record it and then they have like VR tickets or whatever to see it after it's off Broadway? Because you're not losing ticket sales, you're getting more.
I think, oh yeah, that's just they worry that if we do this, maybe we'll lose ticket sales, or maybe we won't have as many people who are willing to come out. And that's a valid fear. That's the same reason like they might not record it, is because if they do that, maybe people will just wait for a recording to come out. If we like say it's only going to be on stage, this is the only way you'll be able to see it, you better get here while you can, more people will actually show up. But
Yeah,
the
except
impression
that,
I
like,
got is you almost always have sold out shows on
I
Broadway,
mean,
so I don't
that
know.
was Hamilton for the longest time.
If
Like, Hamilton was the best-selling musical to hit America. And, like, honestly, Lin-Manuel Miranda deserves it because he's a
Nope.
fucking genius, and I love him.
maybe the other thing is, if you do that, you can't increase ticket sales as much as you could otherwise. But in that case, you're also kind of like, you're reducing the amount of people that see it, reducing the amount of people that will think about it or want to buy merch for it, possibly, or reducing, yeah. So it's essentially you're either increasing ticket sales, so more the people who really do want to go and see it will pay more to go and see it, or you can pay the same ticket prices, maybe increase them a little bit if it's that good, but you use the rest of the ticket sales for people who subscribe to your streaming service or who go on to see this one show for this VR experience or something like that. I don't know. It's something I feel like should have been done by 2018 and just hasn't, probably because of red tape or something, let's be honest.
I mean, I would find that the main, like, obstacle for this is that Broadway is a highly elitist culture.
Oh,
and so
yes.
they're not going to want to have something like a VR set, which has been strictly used for gaming at this point, as the motive of, like, giving a musical what it is. But, like, think how cool it would be to, like, have a new like Phantom of the Opera show, and you record it and you put it in a VR setting, and then you can watch as like the chandelier comes down. Like you can actually turn and physically look and watch this chandelier come down over your head as this VR person. And like the thing is you're only going to get more money from this if you decide to, or if like, Broadway or whatever decided to do this. It makes sense because, with VR, you put on a set of headphones, you put on your goggles, but you're not there. You're not actually there. And it's one thing to, watch a musical on DVD. It's another thing to be sitting in that audience, hearing their voices in person. Like, VR is close, but it's not real life, and it never will be.
A lot of people have had a hard time believing that when it comes to a lot of, if we put this on the black and white screen, they're not going to watch it in real life. That's always been the thought, and at least to this point, it's been proven wrong.
Yeah.
But, at some point, you'd think that it would come to a point where, yeah, people probably won't, but there is that sense of actually being there that makes it different. So maybe it will never go away. But, yeah, it's just one of those, VR needs people to pick it up and find applications for it, because VR is one of those things that I want to succeed and want to become cheaper and more optimized. And just, it's taking a long time for that to happen, because there aren't that many people getting into it. It's just a few YouTube channels or YouTube videos and a few video games that have taken it in, and not even
Well, you
like
know what?
like big name ones, just like some small fun ones, like Red Hot. No,
Honestly,
Super Hot.
What bothers me the most about the whole VR situation is, do you know how much more fun those Telltale games would be in VR? Are you kidding me?
Are you sure about that?
They're literally storyteller, like, pick like your own adventure, point and click games with a couple of fast time events. Do you know how much way more fun that would be in VR? You get to stand up and look around for clues yourself physically and see them and then reach for them using like a handset thing.
Oh,
like, how much cooler would that be? And then with all of your discussion points, you could have a microphone and physically be like, blah blah A, or whatever. Like, it seems like the logical progression of VR for this kind of thing, but no one seems to think that, and it's kind of annoying.
There is one argument against VR when it comes to video games and movies and, documentaries, is the whole reason for a show or a video game is to pull attention to a certain thing. If it's in VR, people a lot of the time, at least people that aren't really thinking VR is totally new, a totally new way to look at media that no one knows how to do it just yet. But one of the things about traditional media is that there's a focal point, and you're centering on this focal point so the audience knows what to look at. If you have VR, the entire world around them is the focal point, unless the person in charge of actually making the product can garner the attention of the audience. But I don't know. It's tough. So I think that's something that Veritasium talked about. I saw a video of him that did the argument against VR or something like that.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of like Uncharted, because I know a lot of people don't like that game because it's an open world game, which means that you have a bunch of different paths that you can go on.
I'm like, people don't like that game?
Not an open world.
Who are these
it's
people?
Not well, I was watching Kadikarus, and he was like, yeah, some people don't like the Uncharted series because it's kind of open world. Like, obviously, like, it's not unlimited open world, but it doesn't just take you from point A to point B. It, like, rewards exploration. And I think that's something that you could really take advantage of with VR, is that you're taking advantage of this console thing to give everybody the opportunity to explore a world. And if you don't like this kind of games, you're not going to enjoy VR as much in a gaming setting or in a movie setting. Like, I feel like people who argue against VR don't give directors of development enough credit. Because, like, if you're not interested in the story, of course you're going to look elsewhere. But if you are interested in the story, who are you going to be looking at? The other main characters. You're going to be looking at plot points that are given to you or are heavily hinted to you. Like, it's not hard to pull someone's attention one way and then trick them because they're not paying close enough attention, or like they miss something. Like, that's the whole fun of storytelling. Like, I think about my favorite story, Six of Crows, or one of my favorites really, and it does so much sleight of hand that even after rereading the book for the 4th time, I'm still finding moments that directly relate to the plot, like 10 chapters later, 12 chapters later, that I missed on a first read, a second read, a third read even. So, like, good storytelling and good crafting is going to get rid of the fear of not having a substantial game or movie with VR.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was ASMR and VR.
So I have a few things.
Yeah.
Number one, at this current moment, my alarm clock, my timer on my computer is taking up more CPU than everything else, including my recording. Like, my recording is taking 1% of my CPU. My alarm clock, my stopwatch on my computer is taking 2%. I'm like, this seems poorly optimized. What's going on here? But, yeah, I don't know. But the other thing that I wanted to mention is I have a window set up perfectly on my computer screen, and I only just noticed this, that when I look down at the bottom left corner, all I see is a tiny, tiny section of the Google Doc. And you know what the tiny section says? That's the only thing that it says?
What?
Does Bruno Mars is gay? Does Bruno Mars is gay? And then the link to the YouTube video.
I love it. I love it so much.
I just thought that was like,
Does
why is this?
Bruno Mars is gay?
I mean, honestly though, does Bruno Mars is gay? No.
Here, pause for a second. Whew, been holding that cough in for so long.
Did you do it?
I did. I coughed.
No.
It was great.
Yeah. All right. But I just thought that was like, oh, well, that's there. Hello there.
Does Bruno Mars is gay?
Does he?
Okay. We should move on to our next topic. Do you know what our next topic is, Eric?
I'm not playing this game.
That was Yoda.
Copyright
My
strike.
impression of Yoda. That doesn't happen on podcasts.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Tell
it
that
does.
to the
Anyway,
tell that to the judge.
Our next topic of discussion is weed and its possible legalization. Well, it's not really a discussion topic, more so as, well,
Possible.
it's not a debate topic as it is a discussion topic, is what we're talking about. Because we want to talk about weed. Because
all you want to
I
do
don't
is
know.
talk about weed.
we're white people who won't get in prison for their drugs.
Oh yeah. Remember the whole reason that weed was made illegal in the first place? Ah. Nah.
America needs to stop.
No, it's one of those things where I think it's funny how there are blatant things with propaganda. There are blatant things that are just like, this is wrong and this shouldn't exist. But because it's been made into like a tradition, or that it's lasted so long we can't change it, just it's fascinating that's just, it's kind of like honor. Honor does not get anyone anything. It's not like respect or oh wow, I forgot the word for the certain emotion of like feeling what other people feel.
Empathy?
Empathy. Honor is something that just, it kills people, and then people feel like they get something for their family because of it. It's one of those. I have a neighbor here. We'll get back to the topic, but I have a neighbor here who's from China, and he's been trying to become a film director for years. He went to school here, and he's been trying to turn into something in the last few years. And his parents finally got sick of it because they were helping kind of fund him over here, and they said, "No, you're done. You haven't done anything in the last 7 years. You're coming back to China, and you're gonna live back up over here and take up the family business," or something like that.
Ooh.
And it's one of those, like, honor is such a despicable thing. Like, the whole reason for it, the fact that it's one of those, you've brought dishonor upon your family, upon your country. The only thing that you can do to bring honor back is to, kill yourself or something of that sort. Or the idea that
That's
will bring
simple.
anything. Yeah, well, I mean, that's a specific kind, but the fact that would help anything is just barbaric and archaic and scientifically wrong. It's just
like,
fascinating.
I think honor has a place, but I think the appropriate questioning of honor is important. I think in the case of, like, your neighbor there, like, if they haven't made, like, okay, so for you have an allotted amount of time that you're like, if I don't make it in this amount of time, then I'm coming back home and doing blah, 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 blah. Did he have that plan? Because I think, putting boundary lines is important for when you're, like, goal setting. Like, I have to study for the MCAT in the next couple of months so that I can take the exam in March or April. I haven't really decided yet. I think I'm leaning more towards end of March. Anyway, point being, sorry, I'm getting, like, really distracted. Honor is important because it's where you're putting your values at. But not questioning why you have honor in certain areas can lead to problems Like with the whole weed thing, because, like, hemp was totally not okay for a really long time because the industry that controlled America was the paper mill and not the hemp industry. And when the paper mill was like, hemp is more efficient and cost effective
Can't have
and
that.
doesn't hurt the environment as much, we must destroy them. And it's like, oh my god, are you kidding me, America? Are you kidding me right now? But it happened. And so we all believe that hemp and weed as an associative is horrible, which it isn't.
As bad as
like
like
hemp isn't.
other like cocaine or marijuana or heroin or
I'm
meth.
still angry. Like,
Wow.
what's more frustrating about this conversation is that there's no better scientific evidence whether or not marijuana is good or not.
Science isn't real.
Because I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna fight
Had,
you.
like, a quarter of the country. Oh, it's so sad to be alive right now.
But without scientific evidence to back up, weed as a viable place to use as medication or, recreational uses, there's no way to convince an army of people because there's no evidence. And we can't get evidence on a national level / federal level because it's illegal for scientists to study it at the CDC and at the FDA.
I love when stuff is just so clearly set up. I'm sorry, I wasn't even talking to the microphone. I love when stuff is so clearly set up to be, like, wrong because we said it's wrong, and we're not going to let you prove it's wrong, so there. It's the same thing where it's like, the people who are in charge of testing, the people who test cigarettes or cigarette smoke, that studies for that might be paid for by the cigarette companies. Or it might be the way for, like, we'll be talking about gas and how gas affects us and how we should stop using it. Or studies on, there was a specific one that I can't think of what it was, but studies where the studies or research that's being done on something that's being funded by the people that it would seem to impact the most if it was found to be bad. So there's no real, like, there's no sense of, like, an outside source actually going into this and being like, you said this thing, but when we looked into it, it was actually this. Something's wrong here. And then something changing for the better. It's like, I don't know. Money is a crazy, stupid thing.
Well, it's the problem with, like, capitalism. Again, I'm like,
That seems to be our buzzword in this podcast so far.
It is. I hate myself a little bit for it because, like, I kind of like capitalism, but I don't like the kind of capitalism we have right now, I guess.
But there are issues.
Like, I enjoy the competitive nature of capitalism. I think it helps garner change and improvements, like, because everybody's looking for the next best thing. Like, that's important, and I really think we need to, like, hold on to that. But I think having an unregulated capitalism is kind of dangerous, especially when businesses like, I don't know, Disney, like, buys up half of the entertainment world, and, like, that's really scary.
I remember when we used to, like, break apart studios for being too big and, like, owning the studio and the theater and the production and all of it combined into one single entity, and the government went in and said, like, nah, fam, nah, you can't be doing this. This is America. You're splitting up into multiple entities, and that's what we have today. And for some reason, that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. I don't know if that, like, if this would have happened in the 20s, something similar to it. I mean, that's why we broke up, oh my gosh, was it a steel company or an oil company from way back when? Wow, that's really awful. I should know my history. But it's
I mean, I don't know it either.
there are things that the American government, the United States, has broken up because they became very enormous monopolies. I think it had to do something with, like, there was an oil company. I can't remember the name, but people know what I'm talking about. There's an oil company that was so big, they were so incredibly big and had so much money coming towards them because they were, like, the one source of this, amazing commodity in the country, that for whatever reason, well, no, not for whatever reason, but that when other startups would try to do something to compete, this company could lower its prices so far that they would actually take a hit, that they would lose money because of how low that they've set their prices at, but they would do this to literally suffocate these small startups so that when they died off, they'd raise the prices back up again. And that's why they eventually broke it up. But it's one of those, like, it's just that we all kind of paying attention here. Is really the whole government really separate from all of these other companies that seem to be giving them a lot of money? This is a little weird. Okay, but all right, no. But no, it's just, we were all talking about the whole marijuana legalization and stuff, and I was like,
We were.
I don't know. I keep going off on other, well, kind of sort of tangents. But
Hello, we are Sidebar Nation.
Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. I'm gonna make a T-shirt that
But
says
nah.
Sidebar Nation.
For as far as marijuana, it was just legalized here in California. I was looking up a map and I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that right? 9 states have it legalized for recreational use, and then another whole bunch of states have it set up for medical use. But besides, like, Florida, Louisiana, and Arkansas, the South doesn't seem to have any legalization put together. And
I mean, here's the thing. Florida doesn't count in the South. Florida just is.
oh yeah, Florida. There are some people that are just like, hold on, can we just, like, get rid of Florida? Can it just float off into the sea? But
I don't mind Florida, but, like, I think calling Florida the South is incorrect. Because Florida is just kind of its own section of the United States.
eh.
Like, it just is this weird-ass place that exists, separate of every other, like, yeah.
Oh, is this some more Sidebar Nation? No, that was one of the things
Hello?
that it had to deal with a friend that I have who, she would be dead right now if it weren't for her being able to use marijuana. And she was actually using it, I guess she was probably using it illegally at some point without a permit, but now that it's recreational out here, it's, she's good. But if it weren't for that, she probably would have died, or she would have killed herself, because she has a bipolar disorder. She has a lot of issues with, she can split in her head, and she can have multiple personalities that come out, and one in particular is especially bad, and that because of this, marijuana is one of those drugs that completely fixes it, like, entirely, besides the whole being high part. But she's genuinely much more in control when she's had when she's smoked marijuana or had an edible. And it's like, if she didn't have that control that she could go to, that she could get at when she wants, she would be, she'd just probably be dead, because she would have gotten so tired of it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, marijuana has never killed someone from the drug itself, and it saves more people. So,
Well, and to OD on marijuana, you have to, like, really want to OD, and even then you probably won't.
you could probably OD better or easier on caffeine than you can on marijuana. So,
Yeah, actually.
that's funny.
They're kind of in the same ballpark.
You can
but,
OD
yeah.
on water easier than marijuana. That should be a title for something. More people have died from water overdose than marijuana.
God, that's
But no,
horrible.
it's one of those things where it's like, well, a friend of ours back in South Dakota who straight up was sent to jail for being caught with, like, I think maybe 2 grams. And,
yeah, marijuana, and he was going to sell or whatever.
oh no, he wasn't gonna sell it even. It was he got it from a friend of his, and actually he basically said that this is probably one of the last times he was gonna do it because the job that he had gotten him in a really good position, and he figured he's got to spend more time on that. He probably doesn't need to be smoking as much anymore, especially since a lot of friends had
Yeah.
moved away. But for whatever reason, he got pulled over, and the cop comes to the car and says, I can smell it, and then searches his car and finds it, and he gets put away for that. He goes to jail for it. And he didn't end up staying in jail or going to prison. He was just there for 3 or 5 days. Not that that's fine.
He was lucky.
He had
but
some
he
serious
was white.
shit go down because of how much of a kid he looks like, and that he
Yeah.
had other people in the place that were protecting him when the guards, won't. But
That's so shit.
yeah, it was bad, the stories that he told me. It was really bad. Like, you think, oh, it's only South Dakota. How bad could it be? Oh, it has me scared for what the rest of the country could be like. But nah, he can't socialize. He can socialize, but he can't go out to bars to drink. He can't have any alcohol whatsoever. He can.
Wait, is this all a state mandate?
Yeah,
or
it
like
is. No, it's
personal?
one of those, like, you got caught with weed. We can't have you. You can't leave the state. You can't drink alcohol, and you have to attend classes for some section of time. And
Wait, for how long?
it could be 2 years, a year. I don't remember for sure how long classes are.
No, that he can't go and like drink in bars and like can't leave the state.
I think 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, no, it's really awful because in his age group, he's looking. We're all looking for love. We're all looking for people that we could spend the rest of our lives with and like make a family with.
Oh, good Christ.
And not that, going to a bar is like always the best place to go, but that's a place that was like an area he had a lot of friends that he got to go to, and now that he can't go to there, that's a whole section of, his friends are going to bars. Well, he can't go there because, this issue. So all of that socialness that he could do is now taken out. And with how busy he is with his job, he can't do anything during the day. So he just spends his nights at home playing video games. And it's kind of like, there's nothing else he can do. There's nothing else really to do. I mean, it's South Dakota. What else is there to do?
I mean, I guess you could invite people over to drink and whatever, but
He
like
can't.
at the
He
same
can't have any
time-
alcohol whatsoever anywhere nearby. Even if he has it nearby, it's to temptation, and he's really good about it. And
Are you?
it's
That is
well,
so stupid.
it's one of those just like. It's funny because the class that he's in has a bunch of alcohol. I think it has a bunch of alcoholics in it, and maybe a meth addict or two.
I mean, it's what our state is known
a meth
for,
addict or
so-
two. I actually don't think that's right. I know it has alcoholics, but I wanted to say he was in another class with a few meth addicts, and they would say like, "What are you in for?" And he's like, "I got caught with weed," and they're like, "Oh, poor baby." And the alcoholics are there because they actually need help. Like it can be addictive. It can be something that you rely on, and weed is just like something you can do. It's not addictive, so it's just like, okay, fine, I won't do it, I guess. But having alcohol or having weed isn't going to be one of those like, if you have one, you're going to be addicted to the other or something like that. And when he's there with other meth addicts or people who have had meth in their life or got caught having meth or something like that, it's one of those like, they actually need help. It's actually an addictive substance. It changes your brain chemistry. And when you're there, like in the same class, and you've had a few pots or something in your life, it's just, it doesn't make sense because it's not even close to the same caliber. It's just, I don't know.
Well, especially since like it wasn't like he was doing anything bad. Like, it would be one thing if you're an alcoholic and you're drinking and driving and you get caught. Like, yes, go get treatment. Yes, all of that jazz. But, like, it wasn't like he was abusing the substance beyond it being illegal.
He wasn't selling it to minors.
Ugh.
It's old policy. It's old policy, and it all kind of goes back to tradition, honor, and dehumanization. Because, like, for example, if someone were to go in and say, like, I need this because it saved my life. I have not been able to be myself because of my mental disorder, not being able to get the drug that I need because health insurance got too expensive. Health insurance wasn't available for me because of some incidents, so I wasn't able to get the drug. Or I do have health insurance, but the drug is so expensive, like in the case with HIV or AIDS, that the drug for that was just raised so high because they could, and they were the only ones that manufactured it, and apparently nothing happened. I mean, that's lawsuit worthy, I would feel like. But when she'd go in there and she would say something like this, like, I needed this. Why have we not made legislation to make it so this is easier for me to get, or that I won't be penalized by the law for using it when it, it doesn't do anything bad, and it does far more good than any bad that it could do. And we still have cigarettes legalized for some reason, but the way that people would look at it is, you're not human. You're not me. I wouldn't do that. My children would never do that. They dehumanize them in order to make it seem like it's okay to be against them. And that's, in this day and age when we kind of, get closer and closer to the propaganda we had during 1930s, I'm like, dehumanization. That's like word of the day or something. It's not good. It's what kills people, and
it's just so irritating because it's a cycle of history. We are watching history repeat itself, and it's so frustrating being hyper aware of this and telling people, and then people look at you and they're like, "Oh, well, you're overreacting because." We're not going to become Nazis. No, you're not going to become Nazis. You're going to become a different word for the exact same thing, and horrible treatment for probably not Jews, hopefully, but definitely against African American and Native American people. We've already seen super racist actions against these people, and it's absolutely horrifying, frustrating, and just you want to look at these people and throw a textbook their way and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't do exactly what happened in this one chapter because, I don't know, it didn't really turn out that great for Germany. It's probably not going to turn out that great for us or, any of the people populating our United States.
Yeah, what are you going to do? I was going to say, salty. We're getting close to the 1 hour mark if we haven't reached it already. I actually forget when I started my timer. But essentially, if there's anything that should be made into law that isn't law, it should be something that states specifically that it is illegal to dehumanize people, and then gives examples of, here are examples of how people have been dehumanized in the past. And if you are convicted of dehumanizing someone, you will be punished. You'll be paid a fine based on your income. You'll do something like that, because I don't want people going to jail. I think people going to jail at a prison is, next to useless, because in our system, it's, again, the dehumanizing. They're inmates. They're not human anymore. Well, then it's like, well, you just want to kill them. It's one of those, listen, you have to help people, but if you're not willing to help them and you just want to put them in a box and let them rot there, it's one of those, we
have to do better. We have to do better by these people.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to go into another topic. We'll do that about
the prison system. I have so many thoughts.
Prison system is a good topic. Honestly, I feel like this marijuana topic could be talked about again, because we did not get enough time to really go into it, I think. But
I mean, here's the thing. This podcast episode could honestly be known as Sidebar Nation, because we got so off topic about literally every single thing we talked about.
It was a good intro, though. It was 15 minutes or something.
It was good. I had fun. I enjoyed our conversation. I enjoyed talking to you.
Oh, Lord.
It's because we're siblings. It's so cute.
Did you have anything happen this week? Anything special? Anything great? Goody gumdroppers?
So this is going to be a kind of low-level event, but I was extremely ill a week ago, and I finally am feeling so much better, and I was able to go to the gym on Friday, and I got to work out, and I ran for almost 6K. I got pretty close to running 6 kilometers. So, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a lot better. And I still have a little bit of a cough. Still have a little bit of a stuffy nose. But, honestly, I'm feeling hell of a lot better. And I just hope that I can keep on healing.
Hey, yeah.
How about you? What's your happy thing for the week?
I came back to California, and I didn't get sick from your sickness.
Yay!
Oh, God, what was that?
I tried really hard not to get you sick.
Well, no, you Never mind. You won't even be able to hear it in the podcast because it sounded like you just went right up to your phone. And it was just... Okay.
Well, I did it, so there.
All right. I got work yesterday, so I managed to find myself on a secret show.
Ooh, so secret.
I'm gonna be doing a short film tomorrow, that I'm really curious how that's
Wait,
gonna
is
go.
it the same director?
No, it's
from
something totally
the
different.
Other short film?
No, it's something totally
Okay.
different. So I really have no idea what's gonna happen there. And
You
then,
should let me know if they want some screenplays, because I got some screenplays. And
yeah, well,
do that
this is
thing.
with a small student group, so we'll see.
Meh.
But yeah, we're gonna get right back into it after the whole Christmas New Year's thing, and it was great.
Yay!
It was wonderful.
I'm very proud of you.
Oh God, thank you,
Aw.
thank you so much. I'm so happy about it now, aren't I?
Oh my god, now he really sounds like
Now it's
Caddicarus.
Caddicarus time, isn't it? Now, right, all right.
Good Christ.
It's really sad is that I feel like it's way more better than I think it is.
Oh my god. Like, here's the thing, though. One of these episodes, we have to try and maintain a British accent the entire time and see how awful it is.
I don't want to.
Because, like,
I'm gonna...
sometimes I think I have a good British
It makes
accent.
me feel bad.
And then I listen to it, and I'm like, good God, that was disgusting. Never again.
I don't want
And
it.
then I inevitably slip back into an English accent.
Let's just do...
Because why the hell not?
I just want to do fake accent. This is the Caddicarus accent, and it's totally okay.
Oh my god. Why?
That's the... what's the thing? Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the where I decide whether a game should be salvaged or salvaged. Same source. Okay, then. Here we go. What was it?
Cure.
Chaw. Oh my gosh, I don't remember what it
TBH,
is.
he's one of my favorites.
Sure.
Current cookies.
Um,
Current
destroyed or
cookies.
salvaged? I don't. Saved? No,
Current quickies.
I don't remember what it is. Oh well, but Caddicarus. Yeah, he was just putting out a bunch of videos of like season 1, 2, and 3 of Caddicarus show coming to you
Yeah, I saw
live
that.
At this place. I just went and had some sushi recently, and it was really good. It made me think of
Slaughtered. Slaughtered was the word.
sushi.
Slaughtered
Slaughtered or
salvaged.
salvaged. Did you know gaming of whether the game should be slaughtered or salvaged? Chaw.
Good lord.
Right. All right. That's enough, though. That's a good way. I'm gonna end it with the,
With our
Hold
Caddicarus
on.
impressions. No one knows who we're talking about, but
If
you
it was
should
your
check him
birthday,
out
happy
on
birthday
YouTube
to you,
because
and
he's great.
don't forget to be awesome. To stay awesome.
To stay beautiful.
Beautiful. Stay awesome. Someone
Good
else.
lord.
I'm good Caddicarus fan. All right.
You're horrible.
That's how we'll end it. Thank you. Thank you, Caddy.
Have a happy birthday if today's your birthday. Remember, don't smoke weed unless you're white and in a state where it's legal. Then anybody can smoke it if it's legal, but make sure you have a permit.
Don't smoke.
And also, ASMR is pretty good. And if you haven't listened to it, don't knock it till you tried
gonna
it.
say-
Because maybe you'll find it's beautiful and you'll love it.
Don't smoke. But if you're gonna smoke, for the love of God, don't smoke cigarettes. Because weed is just... cigarettes make me so
Cigarettes
sad.
Are bad.
I like...
They're not good for you.
The non-addictive one is the illegal one. The addictive one is totally okay. And advertised around kids. Alright, that's enough of that. And I just
Okay.
flipped the audio once more. Alright, but that's all we're gonna do
We'll
for
do
this
that.
podcast, though. Thanks for listening. And
Thanks.
stuff.
Bye.
Bye. That's not how I want to do it.
Bye.
No, but seriously, though.
Bye. We love
No.
you. We hope to see you again
This is just...
in the future. Whenever the hell we do another podcast.
We don't have an ending. We just keep going. Alright.
That'll be our ending. It'll be the ending that never stops until we inevitably